Hello Cheetah fans and welcome to yet another riveting episode of Cheetah Chase. In this month's show we join in on the tries and excitement of the annual MyWay Sevens tournament. Rugby development takes centre stage as we pay a visit to the VUKA rugby program in Bloemfontein as well as a Toyota hosted clinic in Kimberley. And we sit down with Toyota Cheetahs physiotherapist JP du Toit to hear his thoughts on touring in Europe and how to communicate with the Italian medical staff. The Free State Rugby Union recently hosted friends, sponsors and partners at the presidential suite in the Toyota Stadium as they kicked off the 2018 rugby season. We caught up with Free State Cheetahs Managing Director Harold Verster to hear what the evening entailed.
Well, tonight we had the launch of the Currie Cup season 2018 as well as the Pro 14 season 2018-2019. And we have tonight recognized the support of all our sponsors. The Toyota sponsorship is the core sponsor for the Toyota Cheetahs and all the other sponsors, Twiza, Cartrack, Sparta, Tonica Minolta, and all of those VUKA and them supporting us. But we've also announced the squad for the two competitions, Currie Cup and Pro 14, and it's a joint squad. We will move players in and out of Currie Cup into Pro 14, as well as our coaching structures right through from under 19, under 21, Currie Cup, and Pro 14 right through the system. Doctors, physios, fitness trainers, everybody. We've also recognized the supporters over the year that has passed and asking them all to support the brand and build the brand with us. We had with us tonight all the dignitaries like Humbert Serur, the lifelong member, our president, our chairman of the board members, council members, staff, supporters, sponsors, players, and their lovely wives and girlfriends. So, what a wonderful evening, what a fantastic event to celebrate Toyota Cheetahs, to celebrate this wonderful union of Free State Rugby. We're really privileged. We're only one in South Africa that can play in the Currie Cup and Pro 14 in a local, domestic and international competition in the same season, and we're privileged to have just that, yeah.
The 2018 edition of the annual MyWay Sevens tournament commenced at Central High School earlier this month. Now in its fourth year and growing from strength to strength, we joined in the festivities that is associated with Sevens rugby to find out what makes it so special.
Well, this tournament started 4 years ago, and the whole idea was to start a mass participation Sevens tournament, being a development type of sport, and especially from school grounds, we need to start developing the new heroes for the future. So what we also brought in is development teams, and I think that's why MyWay got involved with us. So bring in the guys who want to really shine and get that opportunity to show their abilities on the sevens part of it. Sometimes they're not even enough to play the 15s game, so that's why I think the sevens works very well. And being our fourth year, we've got more than 35 teams here, and yeah, we're looking forward to a fantastic day, more than 70 games today.
The MyWay Sevens is a tournament that is being presented by Central High School on an annual basis. We usually take part with more or one development team from the township areas. This year we have 4 teams playing in the tournament, 2 Stallions teams and 2 Barbarian teams. These teams are made up of players from your Mangaung area, Rocklands and Batu, and then Heiredal. And the schools that participate are Totsoletso High School, Seonela High School from Mangaung, and then we have Petunia High School, Dr. Block High School, and Heiredal High School from Heiredal. All those, the boys come from all those schools that are part of these teams that are playing here today. And the object of these games are here today is to pick a Free State under 17 team that will take part in the national under 17 sevens tournament in Potchefstroom later this year. We're also picking under 15 Garib district team and a Mangaung Metro team that will take part in the final trials for the under 15 team that will take part in the summer games of the government in December.
This is quite a few years since this tournament started, and MyWay and Red Star Talent contact us, and they wanted to be part of the tournament. And as we are going right now, we're only the host of this tournament, and yeah, it's wonderful to get sponsors like MyWay on board, as well as Red Star Talent to organize this tournament for us.
Well, I must say Central really development the last 2 years, their grounds are looking fantastic this year. There's a lot of development improvements, and yeah, they've been a great partner with us for the last 4 years, and hopefully we'll still can grow and go from strength to strength. And from our side as Red Star Agency, we are really privileged to have partners involved with us to make this a success.
Nee, dit is baie nice hierdie dat ons vandag hier kan wees. Ons sê dankie vir MyWay. Dit is 'n groot dag en nee, dis lekker. Die jong manne geniet hulle self en die sport mooi rugby gespeel.
Prior to kick-off between the Toyota Free State Cheetahs and the Sharks, the famous Harley Davidsons gathered as per usual to form their well-known formation, but this time as a tribute after losing a friend and brother.
Andries Brits died last week. We had his funeral yesterday, or his wake actually. We didn't have a funeral, which is nice, but he's one of the guys that, with me, that started riding on the field. I think it was 98, 99 we started. And we just, just to make a tribute to the guy, we just thought, we'll all go in the field once. Still means he was part of our club. And we're just going to do a nice tribute to him. That's because he was a stunning guy. And only 49 years old. So, yeah, it was a sad day yesterday and last week, but today we're going to celebrate him.
With the roar of the Harleys in the background, the men from Bloemfontein gave it their all as they welcomed their coastal rivals, the Sharks, for round 3 of the 2018 Currie Cup edition.
Big pass from Skuma. MyWay slow, the space to Volvo. First try of the match. Volvo. Could you take it? For sure, tips and goes! It's a try! Well, interesting stuff here from the Free State team. They set up the line out, they called Blue for sheer, and the Sharks was expecting traditional line out, but didn't kick, tipped and go. Dab over the top, there's an opening, the bounce. It's not kind, it's kind for the Cheetahs. Sets up for Bashir. Will he go in for a second? Gets up though! It's going to be long! Jeff!
We were hoping for some running rugby, and that's exactly what the Free State Cheetahs are doing. Louis Bashir, lovely kick and chase and committing to the ball, passing it out to his teammate Lloyd Freer.
Driving the ball. Scored 2 tries from it in the first half. It's Relafeli in control, plenty of depth. Still going, it's looking good for the Sharks. Showdown's on his weight. Over. Try time. It's Nemo. Short ball for Bashir. Over. Blue Bashir. His second try of the afternoon. Right, the inside ball, the money ball. Daniel Dupuy will be the try scorer. Make a ball in front. Home side, Cheetahs sit way too high at the moment, the body position, but they're getting forward momentum. Stay in field. Great determination, it gets shown here by the home side, and the home support gets behind them. So close, and they'll get the penalty try. Full 7 points for the Free State Cheetahs. Still winners so far in the 2018 Currie Cup season. The Sharks beaten from 33 points to 29 final score. Sharks victorious.
Rugby development has always been at the heart of Free State rugby. With this in mind, Selwyn Colby, together with the Free State Sports and Recreation Department and SA Rugby Legends, hosted the VUKA rugby program.
The VUKA program is a program that has been introduced by the South African Rugby Legends in cooperation with SA Rugby. And the program focuses on schools that have 4 or less teams, schools where introduce the game, schools where the game has died because of certain reasons. And we are introducing the game back into those schools. We have 10 schools in the metro region of Bloemfontein. We have 10 schools in the Botshabelo area, and we have 12 schools in the Garib district area. And these boys are playing in certain leagues in these areas, and at the moment they are playing games where we are picking regional teams to play in the final trials next weekend here at Clive Solomon in Heidelberg. We will then from those trials pick the final Free State team that will take part in the under 15 Car Week tournament that will take place in Johannesburg in the first week of October.
The importance of event like this is to give the previous disadvantaged schools opportunity to be part of the structure of Free State development schools.
The importance for the department to be involved in a tournament like this is to show partnership with Cheetah Free State Rugby Development, that we together we can achieve more, and then we can try and develop the code at the grassroots level. So together we can do change and see what we want to see our code rugby, the country being supported from all spheres of education and sport.
Die eerste plek vir my is hy blootstelling wat die kinders kry. Die vir my groot lus vir die feit dat ek onderwyser is, vir dissipline op hierdie vlak. Van ek glo dat hou kinders uit strate uit of van verkeerde dinge af. En die feit dat op hierdie vlak nie provinsiaal nie, maar die feit dat dit op so vlak aan rugby gespeel word, en die feit dat die rugby Unie betrokke is, en die feit dat SA Rugby Legends vir ons die vrye kon skenk, daarvoor is ek baie dankbaar. En baie positief meneer. Ek moet sê vir die feit dat ongeag hoeveel naweek ons speel, as ons moet ry, as ouers, die betrokkenheid van die ouers is op 'n baie hoë vlak en is altyd positief en hulle is altyd bereid om iets te gee sodat die kinders kan kom.
Ja, hierdie program beteken geweldig baie vir ons kinders. Die doodgeloop in ons omgewing. Dit gee vir hulle kans om nou weer bietjie te kan rugby speel. So dis vir hulle baie nuwe en 'n vreemde ding hierdie. Hulle kry kans om uit die dorp uit te kom en teen ander skole mee te ding wat regtig vir hulle baie belangrik is.
Free State Rugby sees this as a very important program as part of our development initiative in the province. The program has been rolled out in all the other provinces as well. So in each province in South Africa, there's a VUKA tournament happening somewhere with the idea to pick a car week team to go and play at the national tournament in Johannesburg. This tournament is very important because it fills that gap between the under 13 Craven week and the under 16 Gankoma week for those 3 or 4 years in between.
Well, it's very important to come support the youngsters growing up. You know, you must always come back to the community to show them that you still support them, so that the young kids that are playing here, as for example now the under 50s that are playing here, it's young kids that also want to go up in the ranks in rugby. So with us being here as Cheetah players, it's for us to come inspire them, for them to know that it's not difficult to get up there to play for the Cheetahs. It's just on how you should work yourself into the ranks.
After a tough first 2 games, in the opening rounds of the Guinness Pro 14, the Toyota Cheetahs returned to Bloemfontein. We caught up with local rugby writers Owen Cook and Morgan Peck to hear their thoughts on the team and the season that lies ahead.
Look, we all knew it was going to be very difficult from the onset, losing 13 experienced players and guys that have been with us in the system here for 3-4 years. It was going to make it difficult, so a person had to be realistic about the chances. A year ago, it was the same situation. A lot of guys went to go and play Europe for the first time. I think only 3 or 4 of them had played with the Springboks in Europe, so that experience wasn't there. To expect them to go to Munster and beat Munster and even the Ospreys, who weren't really on par last season, it was high expectations on the team. Ospreys cut a lot of their players in the off-season, but in cutting players, they brought in quality players. The George North, Tom Werter that was here. So they are a well-oiled unit, and the Cheetahs are a growing side. I think the average age is 26, but that doesn't mean that they're so experienced. A lot of young faces, as Frank mentioned, only 8 guys that have been on tour. And if you look at it, for 60 minutes in both those games, they held both those teams. So they can hold their heads up high. Those calls were a little bit deceptive towards the end.
I think we shouldn't read too much into it. Yes, it was bad results, not what they wanted, but it's a fairly young side. When I say fairly young, it's practically a new side. As we heard, there's about 8 of the 26 players of last season. It's still in the squad, so generally there'll be some hiccups, there'll be some bad results, but it's not the end of the world. There's 21 matches in this tough competition, and apart from that, remember those guys had to play in 2 Currie Cup matches before they started the Pro 14 season. And then some of them also played in the Super Sport Challenge Cup. Not all of them, but the fact of the matter is it's only 2 matches, and the same as last year, they started overseas. I mean, we can't keep on saying that, well, the Cheetahs can only do good at home. We should move away from that. The Cheetahs are a good enough side to win anywhere in the world. They've shown that. So I'd urge the supporters to come and cheer the boys. It's early days. Franco's a good coach. He's got good players. Yes, we've lost a hell of a lot of players. But we have to move on. If we keep on going back, we will never go forward.
Yeah, the Currie Cup, that's a Super Sport Rugby Challenge side, Varsity Cup side, playing against some seasoned players. The Sharks game where they nearly beat the Sharks. If I'm not mistaken, that Sharks side had 6-8 Springboks in their squad, so they had the experience. It was also going to be a far reach, and overlapping the competitions, there was never really a chance. But the guys showed a lot of fight and spirit. We saw it with the Lions, 33-0 down at halftime and putting up a good fight in the second half. That's what you want to need, and that's what you want to see, and you also want to see the guys develop like that.
Oupa is quite a leader. He's a very, very tough player. And mind you, if Oupa is in the right frame of mind, he can walk into the Springbok side. So this injury comes at a very, very bad time. He wanted to go to the World Cup. It's not over, but it's going to be difficult because Rassi is now building his side towards 2019 in Japan. And in as far as the Cheetahs are concerned, I'm not that worried. There's enough leaders in that side. A huge setback, yes, but the Cheetahs can come. They can come back from this one. They will miss Oupa, but they will definitely come back.
If you look at the Ospreys who played against the Cheetahs this week, Alan Wynne-Jones was the captain last season, 117 caps. Justin Tuperek, who captained this game, or this past game, 144 Pro 14 games for the Ospreys, 50 or 60 odd caps for Wales, a couple for the British and Irish Lions. That's experience you just can't buy. And Oupa was at one experienced Springbok in the side, 19 test caps. And his demeanour, he's such a calm, relaxed guy, and that kind of thing definitely rubs off on the players. So it was a huge blow, but all the best to him. We hope he can get his things sorted out in the next 6 months. Maybe coming, if we're lucky, towards the back end of the season, he might make a return. And hopefully we can see him at the World Cup next year. There's been a lot of quality signings. Volsienkamp is an amazing player. Varsity Cup Rugby Player of the Year, hasn't had much opportunity yet due to an injury just before the Pro 14. And what excites me is you've got a couple of guys that have been here in the system for a long time. Gerard Olivier is one, Luan de Bruin. And for the first time, they're really starting to string 4, 5, 6 matches on the trot without getting injured. And once they get some experience as well, I think it's going to be quite amazing for the Cheetahs. I say give it up until December. This is what happened last season. The guys had to gel, and from December they swung things around and ended up in the playoffs. So it's 1 or 2 good victories at home, upset or 2 overseas, and that's not impossible. Edinburgh is a good side, but they're not unbeatable. And there's a couple of those other European teams that are not unbeatable. So it's just, getting a couple of wins under the belt, and things will start turning.
Following a rigorous training session, the Toyota Cheetahs are blessed to have physiotherapist JP du Toit on hand to provide the necessary relief to those aching muscles. We sat down with the former player to hear how the team is doing since the start of the 2018 rugby season.
I think the rest was really needed for them. They had a good recovery, but the guys are training really hard. They are putting in the effort, and I'm really proud of the way they are currently training. Yeah, I think so. I think the whole management has been there. They know about the conditions. I think the information they'll pass on to the players will be quite helpful. But I think there's a little bit of inexperience. A couple of guys haven't been there. But like I say, nothing will faze us. In Europe is definitely, I think, Scotland. Not for the weather, but I like the castles and the tourist attraction, but I really think the main is the kindness and the friendliness of the people that's really nice for me there. I think here at the Free State we are very privileged to have, I think, some of actually a very top-class facility here. Some of the pitches there, or the is a little bit small, but in comparison they are first world country, and everything is really spectacular there, especially the training fields at the universities in that 4G pitches. It's really top of the class. Yeah, but we don't really mix with the Italian side, their medical staff, but when the guys have to do their head injury assessments, there is a kind of a language barrier, so we usually do that by ourselves. But the Italians, their medical staff, are actually a nice bunch of guys, so we actually try to understand each other over a beer or two.
Prior to the Currie Cup clash against rivals Griquas and Kimberley, title sponsor Toyota joined hands with local coaches and players, as well as the Free State Cheetahs, to host a fun-filled coaching clinic with eager learners and the community.
Toyota have a very big footprint throughout the country. Kimberley is an outlying area, and there's communities that aren't always offered the opportunities that they would do in, say, the mainstream areas. So coming all the way to Kimberley, it affords us the opportunity to really build that community and that love for the brand that we know Toyota normally promotes.
It keeps them out of street, and sometimes when I look at them, it's like when I see other people outside, and then it's like, what is happening to those guys? And then maybe, let me say, we finish school, or we didn't really finish with school, then we have something to provide to these kids. And like myself, I was at school, finished matric and all those things, and then I told myself, since I was playing rugby when I was 9 years. You see, I was 9 years, and then I have friends, and then they were smoking. I was like, wow, that is not the way, that is not the line that I have to go to. And then I realized that, and then I must play rugby, and then I did play my under 21s and all those things for Griquas, and then I told myself, okay, fine, and I'm retiring, and then I play only rugby now. I'm playing only club rugby now. I told myself, for those kids, let me do something for those kids, for the community actually.
I think it's really important to get the guys starting young, and to implement the core skills and the basics that's needed to make someone a good rugby player, like for catching and passing. And so I think we can give a huge shout out to Toyota for making a day like today possible and getting the youngsters started.
It's very important because obviously the kids, to get them into a passion, they need to know what to do, and teaching them the basic skills needed for rugby is something very important should they want to carry on with their career.
Yeah, I think it would be great for the development of the sport, especially in rural areas or wherever it may be, so we can start recognizing talent young and then develop them as we go.
I think so too, and especially when big players from big unions come along, because kids see them as their role models, and then for them to have their role models around while doing their favorite thing makes them much better, and it makes them more committed to the sport.
We learn a lot of stuff about rugby, passing each other, learning how to defend and learning how to fetch the ball for other people, and also tackle better. We learn a lot from today.
They was very good. We learned all the skills of rugby and how to tackle and pass and defend. It was very nice.
We learned a lot of skills and how to tackle and how to play rugby, but it was very nice.
Yes, it was nice.
It's really building a sense of community, giving kids a purpose, getting rid of some of that energy that they have, giving them something to love, and really inspiring them to see that there might be something special out there, finding a way, maybe finding a career one day. If we see a Brian Abana or a Beast Torreira coming out of one of these clinics, I mean, that will be job done.
That's all for this month. For more information, log on to www.fscheetah.co.za, or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for all the latest happenings, photos and uploads. So until next month, keep supporting, and as always,